My name is Stephen Oweida. I was born in Marietta, Georgia. I went to school here in Georgia, both through K through 12, then in college at Kennesaw State University, and I went to law school at Emory University after that. Along the way, I met my now wife. We've been together for 12 years. And since graduating law school, I've enjoyed practicing criminal law specifically here at home. This community has given me so much, and I really do enjoy the opportunity to help people with the work that I do. And I felt like I was ready for a change. I felt a calling to help from a different direction. And that led me to the wonderful work that we do here, working with Larry and Fritz and Matt. Hines was nice enough to give me an opportunity to work here. And since that time, I'm enjoying meeting members of our community that struggle with things from day-to-day issues, a simple mistake that they might make, a relationship issue. I started in September of 2024 and have really enjoyed getting to know, members of the team, everything from the paralegals who really are the lifeblood that lets us do our jobs, which is to kill it in the courtroom for our clients, as well as the, like I mentioned earlier, Fritz and Larry have been great mentors for me. They've been doing it a lot longer than I have, and have always been a great resource for me if I have a question, or maybe it's something I haven't experienced before, but they've done in their sleep. They're always open and willing to talk with me about stuff like that, which is super helpful. Every new case that comes in is just an opportunity to help someone who's in need of help. And I really enjoy doing that. I think that's one of the missions of this firm that kind of drew me to this practice. And it's something that we preach every day, and it's something that we practice. It's definitely the team that we have. Ever was always been nice to me and willing to help. You never get someone who says, this job is too small for me. That's not my job description. If you need something, the first person you ask is going to be willing and able to get it done. And that's a huge asset, because it doesn't matter who you ask. We're going to find a resolution to the issue that you've got, and it's going to be beneficial for you. So that's the best thing here, for sure, is the great people that we work with. But I'd say equal to that is we've got great clients that come in and need a little bit of help with what they're going through. There's something so great about being able to, even if it's a routine case, just to be able to help someone in a meaningful way that for you might have handled 100 cases like that in the past 2 months, but for them, it's something that could have impacted them, and they'll probably remember for the rest of their lives. I think, especially right now, there's a lot of fear in that community due to what you see online and in the news and in magazines and stuff like that. What's happening is there's a flurry of people that are drummed up about political things that shouldn't affect the law. And in large part, they don't. The facts of your case aren't going to change based on the color of your skin or on the language that you speak or where you're from in the world. And that's important to keep in mind as we move forward through what a lot of people are having as difficult times right now. Having the opportunity to meet those people where they are and to hear about the facts of their case and advocate them to make sure that we can help put them in the best position they possibly can be with what they're going through. It's a unique opportunity. And it's in large part why our laws are written the way they are, so that you can't have discrimination. A lot of people like to say too much, right? You'll think that the officer's your friend. You'll think that the officer's trying to help you. You'll think that if you just cooperate, things will end up better for you. Their job, and I'm not saying that police officers aren't perfectly fine people too, but their job is to develop evidence to be used in a case against you. I'm not saying treat them poorly. I'm not saying don't comply with any lawful orders. I'm saying if they ask you a question and you're legally required to answer it, just answer the question. They don't need to know everything that you did that day that might incriminate you. They don't need to know exactly where you're coming from, how many beverages you had to drink. They didn't need to know exactly what the nature of the argument you got in your wife was this morning before you left for work. Just answer their questions if you have to. And oftentimes you don't, because you have a right to remain silent. It's not utilized nearly enough as it is, and I think it's because people are genuinely nice and they want to get along with people. The other thing I would say is stuff that you would consider being a minor thing in your life. Let's say you had a traffic accident that you were in and you get arrested for it. Let's say it was a DUI and you're out on bond. Your bond conditions are important, and you need to be familiar with what's in there. And the same can be said of probation. Someone might not think it's a big deal to go home and have a drink with their wife on their birthday, or have a drink with their mom or something. But if you're subject to a condition that says, hey, you're going to be screened randomly for drugs and alcohol, You can't have alcohol for the duration of your bond. You cannot have alcohol for the duration of your probation. And even a slip up as small as that can get you put in custody for a certain amount of time at the discretion of the judge and within the terms of your sentence. And that's something that's completely avoidable. And it's really unfortunate when it does happen, because a lot of the times the prosecutor's hands are tied, the judge's hands are tied, and we are stuck in a position where we're advocating for something that this person knows they shouldn't have done, but did for arguably a very benign reason. And it's tough for everybody. No one likes to be in that situation. It drags out your case completely. You get stuck in a position where the judge has had your case or on his or her calendar for 6 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years, all because they've been asking you, can you afford an attorney? If you can't, we'll appoint one for you. If you can, you need to get one, because you're not in a position to represent yourself. You're going to be going up against someone who went to law school, who's been trained and has had assumedly a number of cases under their belt that they know arguments to make that you haven't even thought of. And it could put you in a really bad position even if the facts were on your side. You have to get an attorney. It doesn't matter how small your case is, you have to get an attorney to handle your case for you. They're familiar with customs of the court. We are at this firm. We've got great relationships with the metro Atlanta area and even outside of it. We know how they like to operate. We know the prosecutors and their differences, even among the offices that they're in. And we know different judges and how they like to do things in their various courtrooms as well. All of that is going to be beneficial to you in addition to our experience with the law and the facts of your case. Do your research. Get whatever attorney you want. My concern is to make sure that you have someone who's going to advocate for you. And if it were me in a position where I had to find one of the things I would look for is stuff that we have here. Decades of combined legal experience, responsiveness, professionalism, and great relationships with judges and prosecutors' offices throughout the state. It's very important because what it shows when you're acting expediently and acting deliberately is that you care about your case and your attorney cares about your case. We're going to do everything we can to keep everybody happy. We all hear the stories that prosecutors are overworked, defense attorneys are overworked, judges have too many cases on their docket. You want to get a defense attorney who treats every case with the exact same level of respect that it deserves, which is 100%, and they are being proactive about making sure what we need to do on our end gets done so that by the time we get to court, there's nothing else stopping us from getting your case resolved in a way that's most beneficial for you. We at Hines Law are not going to account for any of that slowness that is bogging down these courts. We want to be part of the solution that is going to be proactive and responsive, making sure you know everything you need to know about your case, and that the judge and the prosecutors know everything that they need to know to dispose of it in a way that's most beneficial for you. I had a client who was out of state. He didn't live here, so he didn't have any ties to the community, which goes towards some of the factors that you have to argue. The offenses that he were charged with weren't necessarily violent, but according to the prosecutor, they were family violence matters that, although there weren't any cuts or bruises or marks or scrapes, there could have been were it not for the swift action of law enforcement. So there's an element of danger there too. The alleged victim in the case was terrified of this guy. So the chips were stacked against him in terms of getting a bond. And I had to argue to the judge, sort of in a counterintuitive way, that he's not going to create any problems for anyone here in Georgia because he doesn't live here. He's going to provide you an address that's out of state. Usually that's a bad thing, but it means that it's not going to, the victim who lives in Georgia who's terrified of him, she's got him blocked. He has no reason to see her. He's happy to abide by any court order that this court sees fit to make sure that there's going to be no problems pending trial. He's not going to commit any new felonies. And he had already been awarded a bond in a similar case before on similar factors where he had already met the burden of proof required to get a bond. And I relied heavily on the argument made in that case as well. Ultimately, he did get a bond, albeit on the higher end of what you can expect for the charges that he got, but he was really up against it in terms of staying in custody. It's important to get a bond because it makes everything easier. Sometimes these cases can take years to litigate. We try to always avoid a situation that's going to take a year or more for you to get your case resolved. We like to be much more expedient than that, but I certainly don't want anyone waiting and wasting time in custody when they can be out and helping us with their case and coming into our office and talking to us about what's going on versus us having to go and see them in a jail cell. It means the state and the government are saying, hey, you did something and we're going to attack you for this. which puts you in a defensive position, which can kind of be empowering because in the legal context, you hold all the cards. Your rights are very strong as someone accused of a crime in the United States. And it's our job to make sure that the state is being held accountable when they come after you. And in your defense, we're going to make sure that they are. If they can't prove their case, if they're going to violate your rights, then it's our job to come and step in to defend you from that attack by them. Absolutely. Yeah. I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have second chances. And I think that most of the people that you meet could say the very same thing. And I'm not talking about in terms of the law. We all need second chances in our personal lives and our professional lives, and it's the only way that you can learn to get better. So it shouldn't be any different for your life in a legal sense. Sometimes people just need a little bit of help. We should give them that opportunity to prove that they'll do better next time. So I firmly believe in that. And I don't think anyone should be defined by one mistake they've made in their life or by their worst moment. It'd be a horrible way to go on. So you've got to be able to have second chances.